Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom, your guide to extraordinary weddings and events. I'm your host, Ashley Miner, and we're here to share expert insights and inspiring stories. Let's dive into the art of creating unforgettable moments. Hello.
Hey.
Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom.
I'm so glad to be here.
Everybody, this is my friend Dan Moore with DJ Shark Attack.
I
could do somewhat of a good job introducing you, but I couldn't do you justice. So please introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, how you got here.
Oh my
Who the
gosh.
heck is DJ Shark Attack?
Who the heck?
And
What
why?
the heck? Why the heck?
Uh-huh.
So many things. Well, yeah. So my name is Dan Moore, and this whole DJ Shark Attack thing is just hilarious to me. Like truly, like the name, right? It's like what?
Yeah.
And you're in the
I
wedding
told
industry?
someone yesterday, they were like, who's your podcast with tomorrow? And I was like, oh, Dan with DJ Shark Attack. And she was like, I want a name like DJ Shark Attack.
Well, you get some of those, but I have had people be like, it made me nervous, you know? I'm like, and I think about that a lot still. So I would love your pearls of wisdom in this.
Yeah.
Maybe we need a DBA. Who knows? No, but like 10 years ago, I was just in college. I was in the basement of a very janky college house. Think frat basement kind of vibes.
Yeah.
And yucky, sweaty party. And my buddy is DJing, and he's just like, hey, jump up. You jump up on the board. I'm like, I don't know how to DJ. He's like, I'll show you real quick. And he shows me some basic stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, but hold on. Like before you jump up, like you got to come up with the DJ name. And it was Shark Week. So, and I was like, DJ Shark Attack. And I do love Shark Week still. But fun fact, I'm actually deathly afraid of sharks. So this is kind of
same.
I'm like, if I actually came encounter with a shark or attack, I would be deathly afraid. But
yes.
But anyway, so I'm the fact that once again that this is here. I mean, I told myself it was about 10 years ago, like that I started this. When not like official LLC kind of vibes, but yeah, like it's just absolutely insane that we're here because I kept saying like this is just kind of a hobby, this is just kind of a thing, and it truly is like it felt like pure luck.
Yeah.
Call it God, call it luck, something in between, but like I got asked to DJ for a party, did it for free. Then some people there saw me and they're like, hey, can you DJ at Mizzou's rec facilities? Which was
Like, okay.
horrible. It was awful because people were all want to listen to their own music.
Yeah.
And people came up and like, can you turn your music down? So years went by and I just slowly started doing weddings in St. Louis, and I just fell in love with the wedding industry because I mean, as you know, like it's something at its best. We've seen it at its worst.
Yeah.
But at its best, it's this beautiful harmony marriage of two people coming together to say, hey, we want to spend the rest of our life together.
Yeah.
And as a DJ, I mean, my whole goal is to say, how do we make this wedding just absolutely amazing? Because if this is a commitment for life, which is the goal, right? I think we'd all say that's the goal, then we want to make sure this is just an epic thing, a party, a celebration of what you're committing to. So, so years go by, and I'm like, man, I kind of want to. I'm getting a lot of inquiries in. We're growing. That might sound cocky, but it's just the reality. And I start hiring some people, and then it just grows and grows from there. But I mean, I get to meet you.
Yeah.
How many years ago was this friendship blossoming?
Well, Delight just celebrated 5 years.
Wow.
So it had to have been 5-ish years, but I
Yeah.
think we kind of had crossed paths just
for
through
sure.
like church, mutual friends, all
Yeah.
of that stuff. I was the director of K-Life for 3 years.
I forgot you did that.
Yeah. And
my
so,
gosh. I was in youth ministry too.
yeah.
It's a short-lived career for
Yeah,
most.
3 years and you're out. I think
Dealing
that's a
with
good
students
contract.
for that long, you're like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. I was recounting kind of my journey to Delight last week on social media. And I was like, yeah. And a huge part of my, training was youth ministry.
Yeah.
You are doing events at least once a week, if
Yeah.
not 2, 3, 4 times a week. I mean, leading small group for girls is an event because you have to have snacks and crafts.
Oh my
and
gosh.
And then on top of that,
The modern
I was
hang can't just be a hang. There has
No.
to be full charcuterie boards
Yes.
at every event.
always. And then, I was mentoring college girls and, it was so much, but I
Yeah.
loved it. Great 3 years. Glad it's done.
Yeah. You would be still amazing at that, I bet. Even though it is, because the way that you interact with brides is incredible.
A lot of those skills come in, because
Yeah.
it's a lot of like family management and like, mom let's kind of hang back for a sec. Let's let bride make some decisions here. Kind of takes me back
to the drama
to
days.
some of the days that I had.
Yeah, I feel like some brides at times, this is going to sound, no, I mean, brides in a stress zone, there are some brides that can get into that true stress zone. I'm sure it's not that far from a middle school student at times.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm joking. But sometimes we're here. Okay. I am curious.
Oh,
I said I want to bring you a question, which is maybe wrong. I'm not.
No, this is great.
You're the host.
Please.
Okay, you posted on LinkedIn. So boomer to talk about. I feel like LinkedIn.
Yeah. My content on LinkedIn is very different than my
Instagram?
social media.
Yeah, totally. I'm only on LinkedIn, so I'm the truest boomer. I can make fun of myself. But okay, you posted about kind of like a failure of sorts, or like an event that you said. I don't know if it was.
It was the worst mistake I've ever made.
Worst mistake you ever made, and you kind of talked about that, and I don't know why that I've been processing about that for weeks.
Yeah.
So a 2-part question, because
Sure.
this goes into my own life. How did you get over the mistake, or how do you get over the fear of future mistakes? I guess is my start, because people pleaser here, and I'm scared to death of letting people down or my team. So how'd you get over it?
Same. Well, okay. So I feel like that's twofold. Number one, I think we have a similar business model to where we're more volume. We have, like my team, we just did 4 weddings in a weekend.
Yeah.
I know your team is doing 4 or 5 multiples in a team. And so, I think with a higher volume, there is just more room for error.
Yeah.
Because of me, because of a team member, because of whatever. And that's just a risk that I've been willing to take, because I know, we provide a lot on the wedding day. So I'm like, okay, if we make a mistake somewhere along the planning journey, I know we'll deliver on the wedding day and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And also providing the perspective to the client of like, hey, one mistake is not going to make or break the day.
Yeah.
We can always get the train back on the tracks. And I know this feels like life or death to you, but I promise it won't. And maybe this is really good training for your marriage someday, because when your husband screws up or your wife screws up, it's not life or death, right?
I'm a regular screw up.
Don't ask Scott Miner, because he'll tell you about it. But, I mean, it's a journey, and it's not always going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And so, whenever a mistake is made, which I'd love to say it never happens, but it does.
Yeah, totally.
Everyone does it. I'm very quick to admit that I've done something wrong, or our team did something wrong, and I'll own it.
Yeah.
But also,
do you name it in the moment? Because that's something I am curious about.
I try.
Okay, because we have in the DJ world, there's a lot of tech involved. Like there's sound and there's chords and there's popping noises and there's buzz and it just drives me nuts.
And
there's
bodies that absorb
the sound waves. And the sound shifts as people come in. All the cell phones that come in these days, a smartphone will change the way that receivers, like lapel microphones, will actually interact.
Bluetooth all of a sudden won't work.
I know. And so, stuff like that happens. And so sometimes if it's minor, I'm like, I don't want to draw attention to it. But, I have thought about that. Do we just quickly say, hey, I'm so sorry that pop happened? Or is that something that only I'm zoned in on? Anyway, that's my own world.
Yeah. I mean, this mistake that I made was pretty large. Like, it was a very large mistake. And ultimately, it had the potential to make or break, but it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't cost my client any money. It didn't cost me any money, which I would have been willing to correct it had it have been something that was, lost money, but it didn't. But yeah, I mean, I think just owning up to it and just going, hey, I'm so sorry that this happened, and here's some solutions that I can bring to the table to correct it versus getting defensive. What's getting defensive going to do?
Yeah.
It's going to make them more mad. And then the potential on their wedding day is for it to all blow up and feel awful.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the person responsible for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, on a DJ front, it's funny because that same weekend I was working with a different DJ.
Okay.
And he just had missed that this specific song was supposed to happen in the ceremony at a certain time.
Okay.
It was in my master timeline, which are like very
detailed,
crazy.
To all those listening, have Ashley plan out your life with this master timeline. She will help wake up, work out, eat well. It would change your life if you followed the master
in the background
timeline.
Going chef's kiss, chef's kiss. They are very detailed. And so I put this song, this was the worship song.
Yeah.
Please start it during the unity ceremony, then carry it through. They want to invite their people to worship with them. And he just didn't have it.
We just didn't have the song.
Just didn't have it. Just
and he couldn't search it
missed
in the moment.
it. No.
Okay.
It was on a farm. So
Oh
you're
my
saying no
gosh.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
All of these things that could have gone wrong. And I'm like running over there and I was like, hey, the song. And he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I just pulled it up on my phone and we like plugged it in and we played it off my Spotify. Thank God. But
Incredible that the right chords were there too.
Yeah.
Seriously, I just think about the cord, lightning, USB-C. What are we doing?
Right.
Here, you know,
I mean,
it was there.
It was there, thankfully,
Whew.
but that was because he was using his iPad.
Oh.
So
okay.
it was like, okay, seamless, thank God.
Okay. Yes.
But this is all to say, he came to me later and he said, I'm so sorry. I missed that on your timeline. I went back to see if I was wrong or if you were wrong, and you were right.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. And I was like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Mistakes happen. Thank you for telling me. And this was the fourth child of this family that he had DJ'd for their weddings.
Okay.
And he was like, I'm mortified. I feel awful.
Yeah.
And I know he went and apologized to the family and all the things.
Yeah.
And it was okay because do you know what this family did as they waited for the song?
What?
They were like, well, let's just sing Amazing Grace. And that is something that they're going to remember forever.
Yeah.
Every mistake can lead into a really beautiful moment that can be a memory for a lifetime.
So they just like straight up like a cappella
Yeah.
Amazing Grace. Oh my gosh, that would be like crazy emotional. I feel like
Yeah.
that's super cool.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
cool. But obviously not every mistake turns out like that.
It turns out an a cappella Amazing Grace. I'm gonna try and turn my mistakes into that.
That's right. You're up there leading. You're like, and sorry about this.
Yeah. Yeah, that could go terribly, but it went well. That's super
Oh.
cool. I just want to affirm, so cool of you to own up to your mistake. And trust me, I've got a million in my books
Thank
too.
you.
But just
Thank you.
really cool. And I thought, I think that what we post on social media, LinkedIn, social media, whatever, usually is the glam, the best.
Yeah.
I'm marketing myself. I'm trying to make myself a person of trustworthy, of worth, of value.
Mhm.
And to just be like, look, I screwed up. Like that just was super cool.
Well,
So,
thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Go.
Let's go around the compliment circle
Okay.
because I feel like anytime we've had anything happen, like a wedding at Wildcliff comes to mind with DJ Shark Attack,
Was it
where
the rain one?
it was in the rain.
Oh my gosh.
Rain shower pops up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Music doesn't work because the speakers aren't working.
Yeah, they shorted.
Yeah. And
Yikes.
stuff like that just happens. And I always feel very comfortable coming to you and being like, hey, how can we help you guys improve
Yeah.
if something like this was to happen again?
Yeah.
And you're always very quick to come back and be like, thank you. Here's how we're addressing it with our team. Thank
Yeah.
you for your feedback. Again, instead of getting defensive, because there have been other companies that I go to and I give feedback to that's less than pleasant. And
Yeah.
instead of receiving it and coming up with solutions, they get defensive.
Really?
And that's the
or,
worst.
Or ghosting.
Or ghosting.
Yeah. Which I feel like you have to. Well, one, I mean, you're just such an essential. I mean, it sounds crazy, but like you are an essential part of our, maybe not team, but network. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like in the wedding world, it is so real. I'm going to say that kind of just blanket. In the world, it is so relationship based, but in the wedding world, it is mega relationship based. I mean, referrals and connections and who do I want to work with? And like that, those sorts of things are make or break for your business.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, when you bring that to us, I'm like, I want to hear that, process that. I've got an operations guy on my team named Parker, who I think is amazing. He's extremely,
Parker.
He's so detailed. He's like to a T detailed. So he takes things and will then process it for like 30 minutes and then come back with like very practical solutions. And so, yeah, like that is a make or break. So I'm like, I'm disappointed because I fear, in this industry, it's kind of ever changing, ever growing. And so I'm always like, if we present the same service, the same product for years and years and years, I don't think that works. If you're not, it's like adapt or die mentality. And so for us, I'm like, that is part of the adapting. Okay. Hey, how do we prep for a rainstorm? Like that
Yeah.
might sound crazy, but how do we prep for a pop-up rainstorm?
Yeah.
to be prepared, and
Yep.
things have changed dramatically. Some of them really simple and dumb, some of them more, robust.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, and I will say we had a wedding in May with Owen, and it looked like thunderstorms all day, and he came very prepared and had umbrellas and tarps and all of the things. And I was like, Owen, thank you so much for being so prepared.
Well,
for this.
I got to shout out Owen. He got a 36 on his ACT, so he's the smartest of us.
He is very smart.
He's way too smart.
Okay, let's talk about your team since we're kind of talking about this. So this was a hobby in college that kind of morphed into a full-blown business that you're running. But as we've kind of alluded to, you have multiple people under you. What does the team look like?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love my team to death.
Yeah.
I think they are so good. And I've had to let people go. And so there's been hardships. It's not been smooth sailings across the board.
Yeah, same.
I've had people that have really adopted what we do, our mentality. And I've had some people that we really had to kind of press and be like, is this a fit? But I want to step back and just 30,000 feet. The idea of managing a team, you do this, I do this, is so hard for me. As a people pleaser, as someone who just naturally wants to kind of do my own thing, excel, grow, win, competitive here. I'm like, managing a team kind of reminds me a little bit of a group project. Remember group projects?
Oh yeah.
4th grade, it's like, hey, there's 4 of us, and somebody's going to probably take on a bunch of the work. There's going to be a slacker, and I'm not saying that about my team, but I'm saying the idea of managing is like you've got this group of people that are all over the place, and your group project that you're turning in, aka a wedding for a bride and groom, however you go about it, that is going to reflect entirely upon you.
Yep.
And so I'm like, oh man, that sucks. Like that mentality.
It's a lot. It's a lot for me. When I'm thinking of which team member is going to handle which client, it's like, okay, I am playing matchmaker here because I have to make sure that this personality matches up with the bride's personality because they're with them all day. And if Monica doesn't vibe with Sally over here, that's going to be a tense day.
Yeah.
And we have to make sure that all the personalities are fitting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Which I bet on your end is a lot too, because, you're in charge of the party, but you're also there to facilitate the ceremony most of the time as well for, sound and music and all of that.
100%. And, even just the other idea of like, I listened to a guy named Mark Brooks. He's with Permanent Equity here in town. And he talks about the idea of people become so good at their craft, whatever it is, coding or electricians or, DJ or wedding planner. And then the next step for a lot of people is just to step into the management role.
Right.
I mean, even in the corporate world.
Right.
And it's like managing is an entirely different job than which DJing is one job, managing is an entirely different job.
Yep.
And so I've had to learn a lot about like how I manage this team and how I connect with millennials and Gen Z. That's Gen Z is its own, pocket. So,
I'm like, wait, what do you mean you don't want to work next weekend because it's your birthday?
Yeah. I'm like,
this makes no sense to me.
Yeah, you can celebrate your birthday any day. You can celebrate that on Friday.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, some of the I can't because of this. You're like, okay, that's fine, But I'm like, you can't
have fun.
You can't push back on that. You just gotta. But yeah, I mean, I'll answer your question finally here. It's like the team biasedly is awesome. And I say they're awesome because they are all the things that I would look for in a team. Every single time I hire somebody, I say, one, are they trustworthy? Like usually there's some rapport there that I'm like, I trust you, that I know that you're gonna go out and not do anything wrong or sketchy or be lazy. Are they hardworking? I'm usually watching these people. That's so creepy. Yeah. I'm watching you. No, I'm observing them in the community.
Okay, Big Ben, chill out.
But I'm making sure like, how are these guys acting? Are they working hard in the community? And then finally, like, can they talk to people? Like, do they have the ability? Because yes, you can MC. Anybody can pick up a mic.
Untrue.
Untrue? Okay. Some people.
Untrue.
Okay. But can you connect with a couple? Can you connect with a bridal party? Can you talk to their parents? Can you walk up to somebody and say, hey, can I get you a drink? Like the unreasonable hospitality piece is something that's a part of our brand, stolen from a book called Unreasonable Hospitality.
Great book.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I look for those 3 people. And so once I find those people, we train them, we get the product. But so I'm always like, yes, there is personality. I try and connect people with like who they'd fit with best DJ. But like, I am going to say across the board, we provide the same service, you know.
Right.
I'm like, whether you get Owen, the 36 ACT guy, whether you get Parker, the super detailed down to the nitty gritty, whether you get, you know.
Shout out Hudson. Hudson knows he's my favorite.
Oh my gosh. Hudson Summerall.
I love all of your DJs, but Hudson and I, we're just buddies.
Hudson is, I love him at 100 always. He's never down. I've never seen him at like we're just hanging out, having a good serious conversation. He's hyped.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because some of these guys are only, you know, Hudson's what, 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
And yet people prefer him so much because of his energy, which is its own, I'm ranting here, but something that I love about our team, and I want to ask you this too, because I'm ranting. For years and years and years, like you're the original DJ Shark-Attack, you're the original Delight Events. And so, you know, I'm sure you're always like, people were like, well, we want to use Ashley, you know. It has changed. Nobody wants to use Boomer old Daniel.
Oh yeah.
You know, 31 years old. I'm out of the books now.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, is Hudson available? Is Kosh available? You know,
yeah.
I'm like,
I get a lot of people in there, like inquiries who are like, we love Monica. And I'm like, great. You can have her.
Yeah. But isn't it funny? Like, I'm like, I want that, right? We want that. We want our team to be like, hey, it's just as equal. And yet there's a little bit of, I don't know, pride complex that I'm like, oh. Like,
I know. Wait, what's wrong with me?
I thought I was cool back in the day.
No.
So
that always is like the most flattering thing to me.
Yeah.
Because I know how much time and energy I have put into like pouring into our team members and training them to get to a point where they feel confident and great and going and doing this on their own.
Yeah.
And like, I want my team to like go and make Delight their own and bring in their own clients, because that's a heck of a lot less like time and energy on my part if I don't have to do all the sales and all the things. Like, go get your own clients.
Yeah.
Bring them on in. I'll get them in the system and you handle it.
Yeah.
I love that.
American dream, right?
Yeah.
You know,
hopefully. Oh my
knows?
gosh. Something that I wanted to talk about was how you get your team members, because I know you have quite a few younger guys who I know where they come from.
Yeah.
But tell me how you just kind of like started attracting these people to your team.
Yeah, it's once again, it feels a little bit luck oriented, but you know, how do we get those guys? I think I'm watching for people. I'm always watching. Yeah, geez, this is like serial killer. This is actually a murder podcast, true crime.
Welcome.
No, I see that these guys are doing creative, cool things already. So like Owen, I feel like I'm harping on Owen. Owen and Ethan, they're both involved with a lot this YouTube page that's a part of our church where they're producing all this content for little kids. And my girls watch it. It's funny, my girls, whenever they come to pick up the equipment, they're like, holy cow, that's Owen. They're 4 and 2. They're like, they think that's the coolest celebrity of all time.
Yeah. My 4-year-old thinks that our daughter is dating Batman because he came to our house one time with Batman mask on.
So she's not
Batman.
She's not dating?
No, she is dating him still, but his name is Seth. His name is not Bruce Wayne or Batman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
It's not the real Batman, but who knows? He can become something later. But yeah, I mean, like when you see somebody creating something, doing something unique, and I know requires time and effort, I'm like, hey, like this, you could be a really good fit for this. I see that you're comfortable in front of a camera. So like the YouTube side of things, like they're producing shows each week, 20, 30 minutes. They're just actors in the thing, but they're really involved. Or, another guy, Kosh, a new member of our team, his work ethic is like nothing I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. This is going to sound maybe douchey, but like he's like a total gym bro. And like, seeing him work out a ton, like he wants to work hard. He wants to grow. He wants to learn. And this is crazy. I actually coached him when he was a middle school basketball player. Yep. And so knowing that, seeing his work ethic then, seeing how he was still working hard, he was picking up a lot of jobs, stuff like that. I'm always looking for people that are like, you see high school kids these days and college kids, and you see a certain type, right? Mm-hmm. That's just kind of like, I don't like school. I'm just getting through this. I don't want to do anything. I just want to kind of float it by. And then you see people that are starting like their own podcasts, and they're starting like their own companies in college. And I'm like, wow, I want them to be a part of this in some form or fashion.
Yep.
What about your team? I mean, how have you, I'm going to turn the question around on you. You've got a fire team.
I have no clue how. I really don't. Some of our girls came, they were bridesmaids in a wedding or sister or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I think, just start following us on social media and think wedding planning, event planning looks like fun, and they just want an extra job on the weekends.
Yeah.
I always say our best teammates are stay-at-home moms who want a side job on the weekends.
Yeah.
Dad can stay home with the babies on Saturday.
Yeah.
They come to work for 12 to 14 hours, and, then they have some spending money or whatever.
Yeah,
and
or just can afford groceries. Hashtag inflation.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
killing us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of our, team has just started as like, hey, I'm staying at home with my kids right now. I think this is something fun, or I loved planning my wedding and I would love to be a part of it. And I'm like, sure, come see if you like it.
Yeah.
And I think moms are the best because we have like 15 hands that no one else knows about. So we can carry a lot of things, and we work really fast.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, the people, yes, getting in the moms are superheroes, period. And I say that to a wife who, actually, we're pregnant with our third. Fun fact. Yeah. So I don't know when this will come out. Maybe she'll be born by then. Yeah. Round 3, girl, too.
Oh my gosh. Girl dad.
Girl dad. Yeah.
That's awesome.
When the OBG called me, because my wife had me learn first, because she's like, if you're disappointed because it's third girl, I want you to take some time.
Yeah.
And so she was like, it's like, you're surrounded. I was like, okay. Yeah. Okay. Question for you.
Sure.
Sorry, I keep throwing questions to
this
the questioner.
This is great, please.
Well, I mean, so we had a wedding at the Atrium downtown. And once again, a conversation that I really loved. We were talking about kind of health and fitness and such. Something that I think we've both kind of gotten more into in years recent. But I wanted to kind of ask you, maybe too personal, so push back and say no.
Nothing's too personal.
I feel like you've had this big shift in health and in your life. You've made a lot of changes over the past couple of years. That seems like you're really flourishing now. It seems like you're doing a lot of, like, what are some of the changes that you made? Why did you make these things?
Well, you need to go back and listen to last week's podcast episode. Yeah, with Jen.
Okay, already started. I saw some post about it. Yeah.
So I talked a little bit about it with Jennifer Logan-Bill, who has JGFG, Jen's Get Fit Group.
Yeah.
But 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, I embarked on a health journey. I was not happy with where I was at, and I was like, you know what? Things need to change.
Yeah.
And so that first year that I made those changes, I had lost like 95 pounds.
Jeez.
Crazy.
That's incredible.
So I was already like, oh, I'm on top of the world. This is amazing. And then over the last a little over a year, I started working out. I grew up as an athlete.
Yeah.
And so I was always active, even when I had a larger body. And so it was just always something that I loved. And I just started with a personal trainer, kind of got myself into the rhythm. And now I'm a part of Jen's group. But, movement is just something that I'm really passionate about now, especially as an entrepreneur. I think it has so many correlations to the health of my business, the health of my family, the health of obviously myself.
Yeah. But it seems also emotional, mental, whatever you want to call it. It seems like you've really been more, I don't know, vibrant. Is that like a phrase to say? Thank
you. Yeah. I think when you're happy with yourself and like you don't lose 135 pounds and like get there without having to like overhaul your entire life.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't just change one habit. I need to eat less, right? I need to walk more. Like you don't change 1 or 2 habits and get, to where you want to be.
Yeah.
You have to overhaul your everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is,
but usually slowly, right? Like it's so hard. It's so daunting, just to encourage whoever is listening. It's so daunting to be like, I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to only eat vegetables, kick alcohol, and never eat ice cream again. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's life without ice cream?
Yeah, I know, right? Ugh.
Are you out on ice cream? Are you out on sugar?
It just makes me sick.
Oh man, it makes me happy.
I know. It makes me happy immediately, and then 20 minutes later, I'm like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
I feel so sick.
It is funny. People all the time are like, I stopped eating dairy and I feel so much better. And I'm like,
I
oh
couldn't.
yeah, I'm sure I'd feel better, but
Yeah, no, cheese is life.
cheese is life.
I'm a charcuterie.
It all comes back to charcuterie
I'm a
boards.
Lunchable lady through and through. If you know me,
Yeah.
I always have Lunchables. I couldn't live without them, honestly.
Man, shout out. I don't even know who owns Lunchables, but shout out to that.
Yeah. Honestly, I should probably stop because I'm trying to stop with like processed food, but the processed meat, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Or else I'd die. I would actually die. I know that you are a early morning workout habits kind of person.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
does your morning look like?
So my morning starts, well, just to be vulnerable myself. I'm in this zone right now where, and you can speak into this hopefully, where I'm trying to figure out. I oftentimes wake up in the middle of the night with just the thought, just the worries of the world. You know, hey, how am I going to manage this? Because I work full time in insurance. I own this DJ business. That's we do about 125 events / weddings a year, and so I don't say that as a flex, but as like I was processing. It's a lot. And if you count up all the people between businesses I insure and weddings that I, me or my team DJ for, I'm like, these are thousands of people that I'm trying to manage, the expectations and make the day good. And so my day oftentimes starts at 3, worrying about things that I forget about, I even worried about. So speaking of that, about how I could stop doing that, but then I'll fall back asleep. 4:30, the alarm goes off, and it's horrible. It's never not going to be horrible.
Yeah, feel that.
Caffeine is life. I take. Oh man, this is gonna sound so Jim Bro-y.
No,
I'm
great.
not. I promise I'm not.
I wake up and take pre-workout.
Pre-workout
and that's what I live
is
for.
Everything. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
like, all I have
What
in
pre-workout
the morning
do you
is
take?
pre-workout. It's called Burn by Fit Factory.
Is there any pre-workout that's not like a raw? It's all just like.
I was taking like Get Bucked before, and I was like, whoa, that's a little intense.
I love pre-workout.
Yeah.
I take one just called like raw or something like that. But anyway, so I'll take that. It's like 250 milligrams of caffeine, so it just hits you like a so
cold
quick,
sweats.
cold, yeah. And I love the face tingles. I love it all. Promise I'm not a gym bro.
You are, and so am I, and that's okay.
Okay, well, and I go work out. And what I love about working out, and this is probably not good, but like I work out with really good friends of mine.
Yeah.
A buddy named Justin Miller and a guy named James, who's a previous DJ on our team.
Yeah.
And we a lot of times just talk life, Justin's going through some hard stuff right now with some sickness in his family. And so sometimes we're just in the gym just having like real talk. Now we still work out and such, but like the community plus workout is like so great for kind of bringing me down before the day starts, from this like ramp up 3:30 a.m., like 3 a.m. worry. And then I come home and I try and read either devotional or, pray a little bit. Obviously faith, Christianity, a big part of my life. And so once again, just kind of like grounding myself, because left to my natural instinct, it's like continue with those 3 a.m. thoughts. Like, let's just jump on the email. Let's start responding to things.
You go from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing without really addressing any of it.
Yeah, until you're wiped at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And my kids wake up at 5:20 every day.
Yep.
And so it's
Augie
killer.
is an early morning person too, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
We've tried melatonin, I'll be honest. But
do they also stay up late too?
No, thankfully they go to bed at like 7. Does Augie stay up?
Yes.
What date? What time?
So I have to force him to bed at 8:30.
Wow. How old's Augie?
He's 4.
Okay.
He just has always been like that. He just is a party kid. He's me 1,000%.
Yeah.
So he wants to stay up late and wake up early.
Well, can you blame the kid? You're fun to be around. Your family's fun to be around. It's like, come on.
Gosh,
You're like, I get it.
Give me some time, kid.
I know.
I'm only fun because I need time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so true. But then the day gets going, you're feeding kids, you're taking them to school, you're going to work, you're doing the whole thing. And I was running to you. You're an early morning workout person.
Yeah.
Ashley actually works out in the basement of the building that I work at.
I did before I started with Jen, because I was spending a lot of money on my personal trainer, which I love. He's actually speaking at Main Street on Thursday.
What's his name?
Alex Maples.
Okay.
He's one of the main sessions on Thursday. So
Main Street, man, that's its own topic too. That's going to be super fun.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was spending a lot of money. I have a lot of people to pay this fall because, wedding season.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm. Cash flow, that's something else too that we're kind of running into.
Yeah.
You said that like fall is probably our biggest season. Is that fair to say? Mm-hmm. And, when you have 4 or 5 weddings all out in one day, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to really I'm like, that's another thing I'm learning. Like, how do I anticipate the cash flow? Because yes, we're making money, but we're also paying out all the DJs and the expenses and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Or you're paying out your team, your planners and your, assistant planners. And I don't know what their title is, but
yeah.
let's call them APs.
Yeah, I know. For our 4-wedding weekend, I mean, I paid out over like $2,500.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh my gosh, I'm broke.
Okay. But then, it's so volatile during the season.
And then I'll be super loaded with cash in like November, December.
I'm
because
rich.
Of dating season. I'm like, wow, cool. And then I'm like, wait, taxes are coming.
Taxes. Tell me who to vote for. I just want less.
Okay. One thing I want to ask you, because you said you guys do a whole lot of weddings in a year.
Yeah.
You do some with planners, some without.
Oh, man.
What would you say is the benefit to your clients who choose to hire a planner versus not?
Please hire a planner. I'm not just saying that. I'm not just like pushing yourself. I mean, what happens when you have a planner is, one, you have the beauty that is the master timeline. I can't speak enough on it, but it's so much more. I mean, what Ashley does for you, for whomever, for the big day is, the months leading up to it to make sure every detail's in place, that the right vendors are in place, that everybody's going to show up, that the communication has occurred, that you've been introduced, that the expectations are correct leading up to the big day, leading to the big day being a very high stress situation. So very simplistically, if I'm going to really simplify your role, Ashley's role is to bring couples down from high anxiety, high stress, that you have everything, and I mean everything, covered, that they can enjoy their day. They're not worried about a single thing going out of line because Ashley has communicated to them, to the vendors. And I think people forget how many vendors are at a wedding. I mean, there's on a very simplistic wedding, you would say there's just a venue coordinator, potentially a wedding coordinator, sometimes wedding coordinator, DJ, photographer, maybe videographer. But then you could have all sorts of, florist is there. You could have
catering,
late night
dessert
snacks.
vendor, blah, blah, blah. Like it keeps going.
And so to manage that many people is absolutely necessary to have a wedding coordinator.
Yeah.
It's worth the money. It's, I mean, I couldn't put it sounds so cheesy, but you can't put a price tag on it. I mean, you do, but but why I want there to be a coordinator there is because as DJs, we then become the coordinator. You know, it's like all of a sudden, hey, did you find out? Like they're like, hey, what's the order for the ceremony and processional? And I'm like,
I don't know. What is it?
What was it? What is it?
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah.
I mean, I can put people together, but then it just becomes more hodgepodge, more more. Hey, we're flying by the seat of our pants, and people can feel that. People can understand that. So, while yes, like we've had to step up and we try our best, it's a different service and product when a wedding coordinator is there. And then the big piece that people totally forget about, which I think totally sucks, is at the end of the night, like and this drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Just to be honest, this is a big pet peeve. When people, because if there's not a coordinator there that's not cleaning up, what happens is parents and aunts and uncles who are kind of like, it's past my bedtime, it's 9:30, and the dance floor is going to go till 11.
Right.
They kill the dance floor by starting to clean up everything.
Yep.
And who wants to dance when everything outside it's all the flowers, all the all the vibes, all the drinks that makes it seem like a party. It's like you're like, okay, I guess this is done. Let's just go to a bar and and I'm like, you just killed the wedding vibes. And that so.
Well, and not to mention how unfair it is to ask your parents who are in a suit or a dress or whatever to clean up trash.
Yeah.
And your stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I couldn't imagine doing that to my parents.
Yeah.
And they didn't, thank goodness. But yeah, it just makes me so sad when I'm like, wait, what? Your parents are going to clean it all up? That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, without a doubt, I'm always like, hey, who you, when we're doing inquiries, and usually the coordinator and the venue are picked before we are. So it's not common, but if I ask the question, hey, who are y'all using for your wedding coordinator? Like, oh, we're thinking about not, or we're thinking about just doing a day of. I'm like, well, like, why don't you just kind of talk to my friend and, just, at least she can, push for the sale, obviously push for you to get the business, but also I'm like, at least she can kind of help guide these people to a direction, or maybe sell day of, coordination.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate every client. I can think of one off the top of my head that we have coming up who kind of was waffling and like, should I not? And then next thing I knew, she calls me back and she's like, Dan said that I have to hire you. So I am. And I was like, yes, ma'am.
Was that the one where the check just showed up in the mail?
Yes. Yes. And and that's actually my anniversary, which is also your anniversary,
December
New Year's
31st. Yeah. Which, how do you feel about December 31st, Annie?
It's funny because yesterday I was talking to somebody and it was a former client who I was going to get something from. And she was like, oh, who gets married on New Year's Eve? Like kind of like she didn't know it was my anniversary.
Yeah.
And she was like, who does that? Like, that's not very fun. And I was like, well, that's my anniversary. And she was like, oh, just kidding. It was so fun.
Oh, wait, yeah, no, I can totally see how cool that is now. Yeah.
We chose it because that's just our personalities. Like we thought it would be super funny and not funny. It would be super fun.
Yeah.
And we had a really fun live band and
That's awesome.
we just thought it would be a blast and it was, but now having to work it pretty much every single year because there's couples exactly like me who are like, we want to have a fun New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
But I think it is awesome because it gives people something to do on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Most people are like, we never do anything. So to have an excuse to get dressed up and go to someone's wedding and party on their dime, heck yeah.
Yeah. And like, first of all, New Year's Eve plans are always high expectation, low reality.
Yeah.
Like it's like, we're going to stay out and nothing goes right. It's like, oh, wait, you get hit with a $45 cover for the bar that's not even that worth, you're like, I don't know, 45. I don't know why I picked that number. It's very niche. Well, 45. Yeah,
maybe.
Not 50. Just they went down.
Yeah.
They negotiated $5 off at the door. But yeah, I'm very pro New Year's Eve. It was a total rager. It was super fun. And we went down to Table Rock Lake for ours. And it was the best.
Yep. So, Agreed. Yeah. And now, and I'm actually making Scott work it with me this year.
Whoa. Okay. You guys going to kiss at midnight?
Heck yeah.
Dang.
Heck
spicy.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And I got us a hotel room in Jeff City.
There we go.
Well, that was mainly because I was like freaking out because I was like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of rentals. What if I don't finish packing them up on New Year's Eve? I'm going to have to go back the next morning and I'm going to be so tired.
Yeah. You should at least negotiate don't you guys got to do at least like a glass of champagne at midnight?
I don't drink.
You don't drink?
No.
When did that happen?
I haven't drank for like 2.5 years.
Wow. What made that choice?
Well, the health journey started it and I was like, okay, I'm going to give myself 6 months. I got to 6 months and I was like, don't really care. Really?
So you don't miss it at all?
No. I'll have like a taste of it every once in a while and I'm like, that tastes horrible. Why did I ever like that?
I'm intrigued by this idea. That is like not uncommon these days. Like, and especially in the insurance world, like I see so many people just being like, it's not necessarily, there's all kinds of reasons. But a lot of people, it's like, I want to be like the alpha self. Like just all I do is like
what it is
most
now
energy, and that's super valid. Like, I'm like, you produce or you do more if you're not having anything withholding you. It sounds like you're eating well and stuff.
Yeah.
I have a lot to learn, trust me. But no, that's cool. I'm like, I think it's super awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it started out as like, I probably shouldn't, to then it was like, I don't miss it. And now I'm like, how can I live the longest, healthiest life I could live and what's going to make me the best version of myself? Like I'm obsessed with this right now.
Wow.
I know it's not going to be like forever.
Yeah.
We're just going to ride this wave out.
Yeah.
Because I'm still going to eat my processed meat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is what's going to take me out.
What is your
Lunchables.
like your crutch? Like what is like this is the one thing in the
candy. I will never give it up.
Sour Patch Kids?
I don't discriminate on candy.
You don't?
I love candy.
But if you had to pick, like Gunhead, you get one candy.
Okay, I love, my mouth's watering. I love those Airhead strips, like rainbow small bite ones.
And you can kind of can you peel them apart or no?
Okay, the long ones you can.
Yeah.
But they make them in like small bite size now.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
too edible.
So good.
Okay. So what is that? That could be the anniversary treat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
That feels fair.
For sure. I will never give up candy. I just can't do it.
Yeah. We're not trying to be. We can be perfect to a letter,
Yeah. Candy, never giving it up.
Not worth it.
Okay. Last question that I ask every guest on the podcast. If you were not doing this, and I'm also going to take away insurance.
Okay.
So you're not doing insurance. You don't have DJ Shark Attack.
So this is like dream job kind of stuff.
What would you be doing?
Okay. The first thing that came to my head, like gut reaction.
Uh-huh.
And this is so funny. So people ask me this all the time. They're like, what kind of music do you listen to? I'm like, not anything I play at a wedding. Because, you just play that stuff so much. It's pop, it's top 10. It's, I grew up like loving, and this is so not popular now, so it's kind of hilarious, but I loved alternative rock. Like think like Blink-182 and like these kind of bands.
My husband was making me listen to Stained this morning.
Oh man, that's more hard rock.
I was like, I don't like this.
I wasn't like metal, but I loved all those punk bands and just like the whiny voice. Still love it.
Yeah. Sum 41 forever.
Sum 41.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like these are things I still regularly listen to. Not with my wife. She can't stand it. Nor can really anybody. But it's nostalgic for me. Yeah. So if I wasn't, and somehow we're going to just take the whole family dynamics, how would that work? We're just thinking fun here. I would be the drummer in a very average alternative rock band.
Nice.
I can't believe that I would make it that much further than that. But we would just be an average band. We'd hit your couple local cities. We'd be just breaking even.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Okay, that's the dream.
I was a drummer for like 15 years.
Nice.
So
I didn't know that about you.
I'd grow my hair out. It's already receding. We'd just
Why not?
Let's just go nuts.
Just go with it.
Yeah. What about you? Do you ever get turned around this question?
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes I just insert that week's dream. But for a very long time, the dream, we're going to go kind of same thinking path here. The dream for a long time was I wanted to be a backup singer for Taylor Swift.
Oh my gosh. That would be incredible.
I mean, this was before liking Taylor Swift was cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like,
This
you're
is like,
you're a big singer.
Yeah. I used to be.
Still are.
I mean, I just sing and Augie tells me to stop.
Oh.
So
come on.
I don't think I have it anymore.
Let mom sing. Let mom belt it.
But I wanted to be a backup singer for Taylor Swift. However, last week I changed my mind because I paid $1,000 for a new toilet to get installed at my house, and I'm going to be a plumber.
You're going to be a plumber?
In my next life.
Just to save the money.
Because listen, I have 3 more toilets to replace in my house. That's $3,000.
Yeah. Oh, but the stink, the smells.
I think I could do it.
Okay.
I think I could do it. I'll just, the pink, glittery, rainbow, smiley face plumber shows up to your house.
Honestly, that could be a brand.
Duh.
I'm sure people would choose to hire you.
Delightful plumbing.
Delightful plumbing. I'm trying to think
for not so delightful situations.
Yeah. Delightful plumbing for shitty situations. Yeah. Sorry. You can bleep that out. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, Dan, thank you very much for being a guest on the podcast. I know we've been trying to get you on for a very long time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that makes me sound like I'm like so booked. It was a timing issue. It was a scheduling.
No, exactly. And I'm a dum-dum and I should never schedule anything on Mondays. Yeah. So partially also my fault.
No.
But thank you for being a guest on the podcast. Thank you for everything that you and your team does to support our team. We appreciate it and love working with you.
Thank you. Seriously. Thanks for having me. And I look forward to many, many more weddings together.
Yay.
And friendship times.
Yay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Ta-ta. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's Pearls of Wisdom podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Miner with Delight Events. As always, you can find us all over the internet by following us on Instagram at Delight Events Mo and on Facebook. And please consider leaving us a review here for the podcast. Subscribe if you're on YouTube or on Spotify. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.